I'm so glad that I don't need a CBS All Access account in order to watch this because when you said 60 minutes, obvious joke here. I'm not even going to go into it because it's a low-hanging fruit. We're talking about 60 Minutes, a new release. A German film? Is this German?
German. Yes.
German, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Have we done this? Have we done German yet? Have we done so many movies? I can't even freaking keep track of them in my mind anymore.
We've watched some German martial arts films and we weren't ecstatic about them, so we decided not to cover them as full episodes, although I feel like we could have. This was before we were doing Quick Jabs, which is our Patreon short reviews. So I believe we have not.
We've not. So this is a first. Yay! Right?
Yay!
I don't know. I don't like. Sometimes when you and I get on the mic, we don't actually know what each other's opinions are. But
Yeah.
maybe I'll just lay it out there. I enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
General, I see your face right now. You're like, no, I did not. Yeah, so 60 minutes. It's very simple story. Very simple, not story. Very simple premise. I might as well just get it out of the way. The main character is he's an MMA fighter. He's on his way to a match, right? But it is his daughter's birthday, and because he is, well, the match starts out late, right? So because of that, his estranged wife is like, well, his estranged ex-wife is now telling him like, okay, you like, that's it. Like, this is the last straw. You're going to miss her birthday. I'm filing for full custody of daughter. So you have 1 hour to get here. Otherwise, it's going to be, you're never going to see her ever again.
Denk an deine Strategie. Bleib defensiv.
Teufel, das war's. Ich kann jetzt nicht, ich hab einen Kampf.
Wiener beantragt das alleinige Sorgerecht.
Entweder du bist bis um 6 Uhr hier oder ich sorge dafür, dass du meine Tochter nie wieder verletzt. Du hast 1 Stunde.
And the whole movie is about him not only ditching that match because he's like, fuck it, my daughter's more important. It's about him being chased by the local, I want to say crime family.
I think you can say mafia or the gambling
sure.
mafia. I think that's what they called it in the movie.
Okay, gambling mafia. That's a little strange, but yeah. Like there's some local gambler thugs that want him to get back to the match, right? So they're doing everything they can to get him there. But there's also another alliance there as well. That's like they are out. They're trying to kill him as well, and I don't have to say any more than that. I think I should have just stopped there because then it gets really complicated. But otherwise, that's basically the movie.
Yeah, multiple parties are essentially trying to get him back into the ring because people have made bets on him. His team is counting on him to fight because they're in financial straits. And then also the daughter and the family are kind of wondering if he's going to get around to going to the birthday party because obviously then, it all just goes to shit. That's essentially the main driving force of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I hated this. I hated this movie so much. And it's not that there was essentially anything bad with multiple aspects of it going on, but I don't know what the fuck this writer was thinking, writer and director, but I wanted this character to lose. I did not like him. I thought he was just the worst kind of person. Like, I've met this person. Very aggro, very aggressive, very self-centered. He's using the idea that he needs to get to his daughter and nothing else matters. So he fucks over his friends and he's just doing everything to torpedo to his daughter. Sure, that's fine. But in my mind, he's unredeemable. Like, I didn't like him. So every fight he got into, I wanted him to lose. And I did not care about any of the stakes at all because I just did not like him as a character.
Hallo, meine Löwin. Happy Birthday.
Kommst nicht, oder?
Papa muss noch ganz kurz auf der Arbeit was machen. Kannst du die Katze für mich abholen? Geschenk für Leonie. Zwiebel? Das ist doch kein Katzenname. Fickt euch.
Right. I feel like, well, okay, wouldn't wholeheartedly disagree with that. He wasn't likable. However, I understood. Well, not that I could sympathize that I've ever been in that situation, but I can empathize that yes, like losing custody of your child is a main driving factor. I don't know if it requires, flipping over cars, having like being arrested, like all that. But those are things that actually had transpired in the movie. And I thought, okay, well, regardless, I can understand why he might want to do these things. And I could suspend my disbelief because action movie, just well enough, right? He wasn't freaking flying in the air or anything like absurd.
Yeah, no, his motivations are clear and they are indeed understandable. Yes, he doesn't want to lose custody of his daughter. He loves his daughter very much. But the movie, oddly enough, keeps on painting him in this negative light. He's constantly like punching at the car dashboard in the beginning, like, okay, kind of an overly aggressive asshole to his friend, like, sure, why not? He bails on the match, okay, sure, because he cares more about his daughter. But then then I started to notice little things where I just wasn't rooting for him. So he's hell-bent on going to see his daughter, right? There's a moment where he goes into a coffee shop and he flips over 2 strollers that may have had babies in them. He runs on right by them, and he turns around to then realize, oh, it's okay, there was no babies in there. I was like, wow, that's what are you? Like, why would I root for this guy? And then later, he brings the thugs to the gym, the local gym he's a part of. Everybody starts fighting, and he's gonna bail on the fight. Like, his friends are getting trounced, and you see him try to crawl out the window. I was like, what? Why do I care about this guy? Like, at that point, I was like, fuck it, I don't fucking care about this guy.
Sure. See, that's I can't disagree with you there at all. He's not meant to be written to be likable, and I guess my tolerance for his unlikability, if that's a word, or dislikability, was higher because I knew what the movie was doing. Like, they're intentionally making him unlikable so that when we get to our final, I want to say hour, but it's not really. It's like final couple minutes, which go on for way more than just 5 minutes. When we get down to the wire, the character finally has a revelation that like is supposed to kind of redeem him, and maybe for. I mean, I knew we were gonna get to this point, like, because like one of two outcomes could have came right out of this. It could have been him, getting to his daughter, and it becomes very, very one-dimensional in terms of story writing or film writing in general. It's like, okay, well, he doesn't have any growth, or he realizes how much of a dick he's been this whole time, and they chose to do the latter route. I won't say exactly how, but they chose to do that route instead, and I didn't love it either, but I knew they're gonna go that route. That's why I kind of stuck with it. They needed
to, because I knew what they were doing. He is an unlikable character. You're following him along in this journey, and he's supposed to have this maybe change so that in the end you feel something for him. And for me, that change didn't happen. I don't feel that he deserved a happy ending, for example. Like, hey, here's a cat. And the ex-wife is like, yeah, I forgive you. I was like, no, fuck you. Fuck this movie.
Hol nur eine Katze ab. Es ist zu. Es ist 10 vor 6. Auf deiner Uhr vielleicht.
Well, is that ending supposed to be ambiguous?
No.
What? Like, so? Oh, okay. I don't want to talk about
really,
it.
I mean, yeah, we can't really say. But
okay,
like,
sure.
For me, it feels like all is forgiven. Everything is okay. That's
interesting. I didn't interpret that ending to be that way. So I will say that my interpretation of the movie, without giving away any spoilers at all, is that he doesn't get his way. He actually loses everything, but it's the introspection that he's learn his own flaws and he's admit to them, and this is the price he has to pay. But at least he's aware of himself at this point, or self-aware.
I like that explanation, but I didn't personally get that from the ending of the movie. Because that makes sense. That makes sense for a character arc for this type of irredeemable person to then have for the audience to have a change of heart towards him. I don't mind that. I don't mind sitting with a very unlikable character and then coming around to him. But for me personally, I didn't like that. So I didn't like the ending. So I was left sitting watching this movie and just being like, oh man, like I wish he gets choked out again. That was fun.
Der Typ muss kämpfen, sonst sind wir alle am Arsch.
Timo hat 75.000 auf dich gesetzt. Nicht verletzen.
Hey. Yeah, when that happened, I mean, this is like the first fight in the movie, him going against a couple people. He technically loses. It's like, okay.
I thought that was very interesting. I didn't think the movie was going to do something like that, because you don't really see a man get dogpiled and actually succumb to the pile. Usually they go aggro or something and bodies fly and he's like, aha, you can't defeat me and get behind me. Whatever.
Yeah, but he instantly recovers. He's like, all right, the fight's not over, guys. The fight scene's not over. I'm gonna keep going. And I mean, it's supposed to take place within the span of 1 hour, and it's a very inconsistent hour. It's like,
I was a little confused because the quote unquote gimmick of this movie is the movie is not 60 minutes. It's not an hour and a half, but he has 60 minutes to reach his daughter before his wife just says, nope, you're out of the picture. Our daughter is now mine. You're never going to see her again. But then it almost seems like there's 2 countdowns going down.
What do you mean?
Did I get that wrong?
No, I mean there's the countdown of, yes, you have 1 hour, which I love movie logic, because like it's exactly down to the to the second. It's like that's not how any of that works in real life. It's like they'll give you like an extra 5 minutes, but no, there's the extra countdown. Like there's the fact that he has a GPS tracking him, and there's also, I forget what the other timer is for. Oh no, the other timer was just telling him what time it was of the day.
Oh, is that what it was? Maybe that's where I got confused with it.
Yeah, I think that's all it was. It was just like, because that, I mean, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but he makes it like the movie gets down to the last second, right? And at the last, like the last 2 minutes of the countdown, you're like, there's literally zero chance that he's going to make it. And it's like we're still in mid-fight. There's fucking no chance unless he like freaking like grabs the dude and they tumbleweed down some stairs and he bursts through the window of his daughter's bedroom. And I thought they were gonna go that route. I thought it was gonna be.
I almost thought they were gonna go that. Yeah, I almost thought the final fight was coincidentally happening right next door to the daughter's birthday party. They crash through the table, birthday cake goes flying, guy in the dinosaur costume goes all over the place. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I was a little bit more forgiving in that sense, because if they didn't have that scene where he realizes that, let's just say there's self-reflection, I feel like he would have been a significantly worse character, or rather the whole movie would have suffered for it, but I feel like it was pretty telegraphed from the get-go that like, it's like, for instance, him abandoning his friends at that gym to fight these thugs while he's running away in the office trying to sneak out, and like, oh, that's a dick move. Like,
right?
Yeah, of course it's a dick move. But I was like, okay, there needs to be some sort of comeuppance or some sort of reflection on that later.
There isn't.
There kind of isn't.
One of the characters says that those 2 characters that got beat up really bad, they're in the hospital. He's just like, yeah, did you get the birthday cake? I was like, fuck you, dude.
Matters. But yeah, I can understand the frustrations there. I didn't mind it necessarily. And I think in the action department, I was pretty impressed for the most part. I didn't love it, but I think it was very, very well done for, a movie just kind of snuck up on me. Like, I didn't expect anything of this. I thought it was just going to be a generic action movie. But I thought it'd be like, okay, he's an quote-unquote MMA fighter, and I actually don't know if I should put that in quotations, because, like, anytime there's a close-up of our lead actor, Emilio Sacraria, like, you can see his ears, like, fully
I saw that too. I was like, because every time he presses the button for the personal assistant on his earpiece, you see the cauliflower ears.
And I'm like, oh, okay, he's legit. He looks pretty legit.
And I mean, I don't know him for anything. The guy doesn't seem to be in too many action-looking movie posters, unless he's just a real fighter. And this is what he does.
That's the statement I was trying to make, was that, like, he impressed me well enough. Like, I did not expect anything of this. I thought it was going to be like, oh, maybe some sort of amateur or some league fighter getting into movies, and he's going to be like sloppy choreography. But, I was impressed well enough. Like, he does some stuff that, like, I would actually qualify as impressive, like him jumping on a wall and doing a tornado kick off of it, stuff like that.
Bis du disqualifiziert bist, können wir das Ganze noch rumreißen. Ich hab die weggeboxt. Wen hast du weggeboxt? Alle.
I don't want to say any more than that. I just thought that the action was better than I initially expected.
I guess I was expecting a little more, but now that I have watched the movie and then I think about that trailer, the trailer just cuts together, obviously, all the kind of big flashy moments. So when I watched the action in this, I was a little disappointed, at least in the beginning, because I think the first couple fights are they're okay. They're a little brawlery. And then the first real big fight is a group fight, and it's kind of messy. They're just cutting between all these fighters, and nobody's choreography really gets to go into these long sort of combinations or anything. You just see a couple moves, and then we cut to the next person, a couple moves, and cut to the next person. And so I thought, okay, I'm not really into this. And I think the best fight for me is when our main character, Octavio, is the character's name, when he actually meets up with the guy he was actually supposed to fight in the ring, and then they meet up in this club, and they actually get to fight. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good, actually. I like the setting. The club setting is kind of typical at this point. It's dark. It's neon. It still looks pretty cool.
It's the John Wick color scheme.
Exactly.
You noticed it,
yeah. So I don't know if you caught this, and I'm really curious. I wonder if they have some behind the scenes for this, because I remember watching it. So the two people are squaring off, and the other fighter, he throws a punch at the main character, and he falls, and the cameraman doesn't catch it correctly. And I wonder,
I don't remember this call.
So yeah, you'll see it suddenly go into slow motion. I'm wondering if what happened is he really took that punch and they kept it in, and that because you can see the cameraman actually is late to catch him falling down, and I thought, I wonder if that's if he took that real hit, and they just kept it in the movie. The cameraman tried to just catch it, just to keep filming.
Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of those performers were actual like combat fighters, like in real life. So I do agree. I do think that this one scene was my favorite fight of the movie. I wouldn't say anything was overly impressive. I think a statement I was gonna open this episode up with is like, I'm surprised by the level of MMA choreography that we're getting nowadays. Because it used to be like, it's Flashpoint and that's it. Right? It's like, there's not a lot to point to, and then like now we're starting to get like a lot more integration of like how to make grappling and striking and all that all that combined together and make it look good for cinema. Like, we have our Hydras, we have like this movie. It's not quite there, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not quite there, but it's not bad. Like it still feels like, oh, it's like MMA-esque. We still get a little bit flourishes of what you expect in like a traditional martial arts movie, like with the there's no crazy flips in this movie. They're really like we have some like basic tricking moves, like more vertical kicks and such, but for the most part, pretty grounded, literally and figuratively, fights and fight choreography here. But in terms of like a MMA fight, I thought this was probably the best. In terms of fight choreography, it was the best in the movie. And in terms of MMA choreography, I thought like, oh, it's decent. Like I could probably point to someone and be like, okay, if you want to watch a decent MMA fight, this could be it. It's not great. I definitely wouldn't say it's great though.
Yeah, I liked the stand-up stuff, the striking stuff when the two guys in the club are fighting. I thought when they actually had a chance to really go at it back and forth and the camera is just staying with them, it's not cutting too much. Those are great. Those are exciting. You can see the speed between the two. But then what happens is like they go into this part of their choreography and then it stops and then they circle and then they kind of check each other back and forth and then it goes into the fighting. I kind of wish it was a little more there's a little better rhythm going on there. A little less stopping and starting. But when it comes to the MMA stuff, I'm not the biggest expert on that, so it felt like he was doing grabs that sure I recognize, but in terms of it flowing visually, it was just okay for me.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, you don't have to be an expert in it. You just have to be aware, like, is the pacing good? Is the action generally like understandable? Can you like that's all you really need. Like if you can make something as grappling, I do grappling and I can tell you like watching grappling can be pretty boring, like, if you don't make it look good, it's gonna be tough for an audience member, especially if they don't know anything about it. So that's
you have to keep transitioning into like different sort of moves when it comes to grappling, or else you can feel
the hugging.
You can feel it get slow if somebody goes in for a grab and then the characters just stick there. You're just like, do something else, do a turn, go for some sort of reversal or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the thing about cinema. It's like it's choreographed, so it's like, it's supposed to be interesting. But I will say that fight, I wish it didn't happen so early in the movie. It happens like halfway through the movie, or like little after halfway. Action-wise, it doesn't get better from there. The last fight is just straight up uninteresting.
It feels like more of a brawl, a desperate brawl, because everybody's hurt. Yeah. You have two characters. I want to call out this other actress, Mary Maroom. Mm-hmm. She is a female fighter in the gym. She assists in the end. I think she was pretty good, actually, with some of her moves. I've never seen her in anything either. Mm-hmm. But it's the 2-on-1. I was like, I wonder if Will hates this, because it's two main characters fighting against the bad character.
Well, okay.
And he had the pipe.
It was technically 3.
It was technically 3. But the other guy wasn't a fighter, so
I know. But it was like, in order to defeat this one guy, they need the help of 3 people.
Yeah.
And I'm normally like upset with that kind of setup, when the villain's just by himself and it's like, multiple people going at him and he's just kicking their ass. But this was extra infuriating for me, because this final villain's not even good. I don't understand how he's kicking
he has a pipe. That's it. He's leveled up, and also our main character has been stabbed in the side, and that's it. And then our additional fighter, Marie, she looked great in the previous fight she was in, but I guess they don't want to steal the show from Emilio, because he's essentially the main character. So she does do a great stunt that I wish they didn't cut away from. She gets pushed over this railing, crashes through it.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you see her fall, but they cut before the impact. I was like, oh, that was such a good moment. I wish they didn't cut away, but I don't know, maybe maybe something happened. Who knows?
Yeah, no, it was great. Like they seeing the actual impact when she's like she actually hits one step before she gets to the ground level, and it looks good. I just didn't buy that this one non-fighter is just kicking their ass. I don't care if he has a weapon. It's like it's 3 dudes. One of them has a gun. It's like, how is this fight not over yet? And then it ends the way that does, and it's, I guess you might be able to say it's ambiguous. Like maybe he ended up like wrapping things up, in a nice bow, and he gets his way, or he doesn't. I actually like to interpret it as he doesn't get his way, and he technically loses everything because he's an asshole, and that's why I'm okay with the fact that he's a dick. He was a dick to everybody because yeah, that's what you get.
That's what you get. Yeah. See, I like that ending, and I like the idea that if he was going to lose everything, it's because of his personality. There was no growth, and because of everything he did. But for me, I would have wanted that to just be a little more obvious that he does lose everything, as opposed to it being a little ambiguous.
Until they do 60 Minutes 2, and there's and it's clear, like he's just holding his daughter in his arms, and it's like, there you go. That's that ending. That's how that's supposed to end. But so aside from the action, clearly we're not a fan of the story or the characters. So it doesn't sound like you would recommend this movie.
I think people aren't going to be as harsh on that character stuff as me. That's so important to me. If I don't like your character, then why am I going to sit through the action? Like, imagine some people cite this. An easy one is like, you got to understand the stakes, and you got to at least somewhat like the character before they go in to the fire, and try to make it out alive. Yeah. Some people say like, in the raid, Iko, they show him having this moment with his wife, and then you see she's pregnant. It's like, okay, you understand. Right? You understand the stakes, you understand their connection. And so he's going to go into that building, and you want him to come out alive because of what they set up. Now imagine if they did that and Iko, I don't know, like punches the wife in the stomach before he leaves, and then he goes in the building. You're not going to want him to get him out. You're going to want him to get shot first.
It's only funny you say that because we just watched One More Shot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I can see that.
But yeah, I think people aren't going to get hung up on the characters stuff as me. Yeah. So I can say you could probably watch it because it's got a neat gimmick. But for me personally, I just didn't like this movie.
I didn't care for the gimmick, to be honest. I thought the gimmick was kind of I want to say half-assed. It wasn't the thing that drew me into the movie. I'd say just watch the movie because I want to support watching martial arts movies, especially from regions where they're not well known, like Germany. I'm like, what, a German martial arts movie? I don't know anything about this scene. If any of you guys who are listening can recommend us other German movies, please let us know, because I'd love to diversify.
We've watched it already, actually. The few German movies that are martial arts.
Oh, that's it. We covered them all.
I don't think that there are too many. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but we did watch it. But hey, recommend it to us anyway. So maybe we'll rewatch it and realize, oh, this isn't that bad. What were we thinking?
Plan B. Was ist denn Plan B?